first off, it's a great place to raise your kids, your family. It reminds me a lot of when I was growing up in University Heights, going to Heights High, having a strong, Jewish community. We had, growing up, I had our synagogue we belonged to, which was in Cleveland Heights. And so it feels a lot like that growing up, because we go to the Chabad, and so a lot of Solon families, go to the Chabad, and their children go there, and so a lot of the kids know each other. It's sort of it's a strong, family type of atmosphere. And I think that's sort of how it's created here in Solon. I feel like as a leader and a representative, I will always remember who I am. Your roots are who you are. It's what sort of made you, as a person. It's your value system. It's what you believe in. You always have to think about, that. And so for me, I'll always, have that as a cornerstone. Decisions I make, how I treat people, ethical concerns, that you have, the manner in which you, sort of operate as a leader, that all comes from my Jewish background, and my Jewish roots. And I'll never forget it. It's always, it guides me every day. I think that we as a community, and this is rooted in Jewish values, is taking care of people and taking care of people who maybe can't take care of themselves or don't have everything they need, and that's a Jewish value that I'll never lose. And hopefully we can govern that way, as a city, as a community, set that tone. We have organizations in Solon that help people in need, and that's something that will be a strong part of what I want to do as mayor. There's a former Israeli Prime Minister named Menachem Begin. And the reason why he always sticks out at me is because when Israel was first founded in 1948, it was mostly from Jews from Europe. So, people who, white, complexion, Caucasian. And then many, many years later, Jews from other areas of the world came. So a lot of Jews came from, I would call like the Arab countries or Middle Eastern countries. Their skin was different, a lot darker. And when Menachem Begin became prime minister in 1977, he really tried to integrate those Jews into the culture. So you have the European Jews who were called Ashkenazi, and then these Jews were from the more Middle Eastern countries. They were called Sephardi Jews. And so he they became more a part of the country. They, in school, in the army, jobs, neighborhoods, and he really, I thought, really created the vision and the future for what Israel looks like today, which is a multi-ethnic, country. There's Jews from Ethiopia, black Jews. There's Jews from, all over the world. And so for me, he would be my hero, because it's something that I've thought about in Solon, the diversity that we have, the different nationalities and racial and religious groups, and making them feel at home and making them feel welcome as a part of the community. We sent our girls to Agnon, which is now Mandel Day School, and so it provided a strong my background. So they knew who they were. The holidays were important to us, and celebrating together. And now that my daughters are 23 and 21. They live that life, so I saw, what you have to do that as it's like you laying the groundwork and the foundation for your children, and they now, take on the responsibility of being, strong Jews and proud Jews and celebrating, the holidays, and they've gone to Israel, many, many times, and I think it's that strong background, that you have and that you foster. And now, it's interesting because my kids now help me with a lot of things, because I think about as mayor, and the next generation, and try to make, Solon a place for young families, and people continue to want to move here, and creating those opportunities, I look to my kids. It's a great focus group to have when you have, people in their 20s, and they really understand sort of what a 21st century community needs to look like.